always thought that I needed a lot of money to get into this real estate game, and until I understood how to borrow other people's money while still being profitable, it really changed absolutely everything. I remember it was probably about like maybe I would say I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago when I was learning about my boy Gio, teaching me about the whole spill in regards to business credit. So shout out to Gio. But then I was in a position where he told me about how you could buy Section 8 rentals with the business credit card if you liquidate it. And the reason why I want to do this whole spill is because a lot of people are hitting me up saying like, oh, like how do I go and get in this whole space? I don't have money. But it's like you have to be in a position where you transform your mindset of how could I go and be as profitable as possible while borrowing money, because obviously there's two types of dollars. There's dollars that are yours and the dollars that are other people. And when I had that spill in my mind, I said, okay, well, if I have $10,000 liquid, this was back in like November, or maybe a little bit before November, maybe around October-ish, of 2024, now that we have 9 units. And I was like, okay, well, if I have 10K liquid, I want to get into this program, but I have business credit. I think it was like $25,000 of business credit. I had my business partner, Alex. I was like, look, if we could go and liquidate this card, we could get into the game, we'll build the cash flow, we'll build the social proof, and alongside that, we'll be in a position where we have the experience, we get cash back, we get points, and it's 1% of what we borrow. Why the fuck are we not going to do it? Why are we not going to go and do this spill? And obviously, after some consulting with him, we said, fuck it, let's run it, about this program, went through the whole spill. But we never had the money to do it in the first place. And now that I look back at it, I said, how the fuck did we even pull this shit off? Like, yeah, we're buying this properties, boom, they're making us this bread, whatever the fuck. But really, like, how the fuck did we pull this shit off? And I changed my mindset from how can I go and pay someone back as fast as possible in regards to the banks to how can I go and be in a position where I borrow for as long as possible while still being profitable. Simply because the bank is not someone that I realized this. The bank is obviously somebody that does not necessarily give a fuck in the sense of emotional state, but purely you just paying them back. And if you could go and get a business credit card that's 12 months interest, no interest, pay it off, obviously, by liquidating another card and just continuing the cycle, and you're still profitable, why the fuck are you not going to do it? Like, why are you going to go and wait time on end while owning no assets, getting no appreciation, getting no, did I say appreciation? I think I said, appreciation, equity build, asset pay down, cash flow, when in reality it's right in front of your hands. And another thing is other people are also like scared of interest rates. And if you're scared of the interest rate, it's like, how are you going to be scared of this interest rate when you're in a position where you don't own property and you're paying 100% interest money that you're basically lighting on fire to a landlord? Or you're in a situation where you're putting your money into something that's low leverage, maybe it's less hands-on, whatever, into the S&P 500, when you can go and make a 20% cash on cash return, 35% cash on cash return with a Section 8 unit. And that transcended my mindset really is allowing us to scale and continue to grow. And people are like, oh, what about you getting over leverage? And there is nothing wrong with being over leveraged for a season if you have everything calculated. Like, there may be times where you're like, I'm pulling off a lot of shit at the same time. Like, that's me right now. I'm in a situation where I have we're evicting one tenant, or actually there's 2 tenants that are getting evicted. One in my sister's unit, one in my unit. And then this other tenant's leaving on our fourplex. Then we have to place a new set of tenants in this new property we're buying in California. We're moving fucking fast. So it's like, you think to yourself, oh, well, that's too, I don't want to be over leveraged and be stretched. If you're in a situation where you're doing absolutely fucking nothing with your life, I'd rather be in my situation with the problems that I have and lose absolutely fucking everything and know that I'm being balls to the walls, as opposed to sitting and comfortable being in your situation. Like, I'd rather suffer through hell in my life than live in paradise in your fucking life. Like, I just rather do that. But when you're in a situation where you're buying this cash flow, but you're also leveraging other people's money that doesn't have any sort of emotion with it, it makes life so much easier because you don't have to go and try to pay somebody back as fast as possible when it's someone that's an investor. When an investor, they're going to be down your neck, they're going to be down your neck. And it's just something I never wanted to experience. I understand the whole spill of, paying back business credit cards, but I look at it, I'm like, okay, it's just a number, I'm going to pay it back, all the above. But I've never experienced the whole spill of, owing someone money in regards to an investment. I've been in a position where I've owed someone money in like small amounts. Like if someone pays something to me, I just pay them back ASAP. But if I never paid that person back, who knows what the emotions would have been, right? Obviously, I think it was like there's times where it's like food or dinner, whatever the fuck you paying back ASAP. But it's like, imagine how someone acts over $70. You're like, oh, you never zelled me. Oh, you never zelled. Like, if you have people in that regard, in regards to the investment side, that if you potentially partner with them, if they're tripping like that over $70, imagine how they're gonna trip if it comes to fucking $70,000, $7,000, $14,000. Like, you have to go and think about I always have to go and think about what is the best case scenario. How can I borrow and move the most, as fast as possible while being in a position where 1, I don't impact my credit, 2, I don't impact anybody else negatively in regards to relationships, and 3, there's no emotional aspect. When there's no emotional aspect, you can move a lot faster. in regards to paying everything back, I always try to extend the timeline. It's like, if I could extend the timeline to pay $15,000 that I put into this first property that went and cash flow $2,000 a month, why the fuck am I going to want to pay it back ASAP, besides for the peace of mind aspect, seeing that the car's there? If I could use this cash that I have on reserve to go continue and buy more properties, and then even in a conservative sense, refinance that property and go and pay this car down, I still got into the game, got all that appreciation, got that asset paid down, got that cash flow that paid off this fucking card. But I never would have got that in the first place if I never used leverage this card. And when you're in a position where you're new into the real estate game, you can't have no shame. Like you can't have any shame. You have to be in a position where you do absolutely everything in your fucking power. That's what we did. Business credit cards, fucking partnering together, balls to the walls, like everything. You can't have shame in this regard if you're someone that's in the beginning. Like, you need to do absolutely fucking, like, I had to do absolutely fucking everything in my power to get this shit done. Like, there have been times where you would see high credit card balances. Like, the highest I've ever seen was like $30,000, or sometimes even 1 month total was like $46,000 in business credit card things, balances. But in a position where the cash was on hand, the assets were paying it down. Eventually be in a position where this property that we bought for $740,000, when it appraised at $840 in the span of, maybe 2-3 months, maybe even 6 months, we could refinance the property. We put 0% down on that property. All that appreciation is our money to go and pay this car down, but we paid it off, and we still keep those assets. So it's like, would I rather have no assets but have this property that is in a position where, maybe I use my own money, or I have all these assets, maybe I have the balances, boom, pull this money, pay it off, I still have the cash flow, I still have the asset pay down, I still have the appreciation, I still have the tax benefits. Like, you have to revamp your mind in regards to thinking about debt as something that's negative. I always try to see, how fast can I really move? Because you're not going to be able to move as fast as possible as you think you are if you're not in a position where you're using other people's money. Unless you're a fucking billionaire. Like, unless you're a billionaire, you have a shit ton of money, there's no fucking way you're going to be able to do it. And calculating your numbers in that regard. Like, for example, if I'm in a position where I use business credit, or another thing is like using IUL policies to pull against it, when that money is non-taxable, right, because it's considered a loan, you could do so many different things. Like, if I go and refinance the property with my boy Alex, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever the fuck, and this long sum of money gets dumped into a policy, and then I wait for a certain amount of time for that policy, whether it's 6 to 12 months, depending on what it was, with the broker I work with, you could essentially pull a fucking double loan, grow two things at the same time in regards to the policy's cash value, or two, be in a position where you have the refinance, that's one loan, then that lump sum is tax-free, you move it into a policy, then you pull a loan from the policy of the same amount, now you have a double loan. This property is obviously going in value, you have the cash out, and you have the cash in hand, but the cash value of this policy is growing. Like, it may seem like a lot, but you have to understand that it's only going to happen at the cost of you not being scared of fucking debt. You may be in debt for a good amount of time. Maybe it's 6 months, 12 months, 2 years. You may be in debt for a long time. But if that debt is buying you assets, buying you cash flow, buying you tax benefits, buying you your time back, why the fuck are you not going to take it? Would you rather have 10 grand in your account with no assets to your name, or be in a position where maybe you have 10 grand, but you have 25 grand in fucking business credit card debt that's 0% interest, doesn't affect your credit score, 1% of what you borrow, you could extend it over the period of time, but you have fucking $3,000 a month net in cash flow coming in every single month from these properties that you bought with that. Tax, like, you have to not be in a situation where you take things at face value. Like, I always try to not take things at face value in regards to seeing the credit card balances, even though it scared the fuck out of me, because I was like, damn, I would always pay my shit off on time. My parents were always like, or my mom was always like, don't fuck up your credit. And my credit's still a 745. So obviously, when we be in a position where the shit is all happening and boom, orchestrated correctly, I know how to move things around. Credit's still 745. So we're like, what if you fuck up credit? It's not getting fucked up, or else I wouldn't have a 745. And I know I went on a little bit of a tangent. It may seem like a lot, but when I was in a position where I was starting in November, I had absolutely fucking nothing in my name. I was like, oh, fuck, look, we need to get these assets. I was talking to my business partner, Alex. I said, look, we're going to use other people's money. We're going to be in a position where we don't bring in any private investors. We don't have any third parties. We don't have any fucking people that are down our neck. Leverage these business credit cards, buy this property, reinvest the cash flow in a position where right now we're refinancing unit. The refinance unit is going to pay down these cars. I think it's not even a lot of money on these balances, maybe like $5 grand that we just pay the 1% of, keep the cash on hand because we want to roll it over. That's the only reason we're in a position where we went from having 0 units before November, right? Literally, or in November, before November, to now having 9 units. And that was like right after 2021. So in July over here, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 9 months. So basically getting a door every single month. At 20 years old, I was still in the position where I was in class, fucking orchestrating the deal on the laptop, on my phone. So don't think of, whoever's watching, I don't want you to think of acquiring debt something that's negative, because in the United States, the longer you extend this timeline in regards to the debt that you're acquiring that can make you positive cash flow, even if it's like a 4% rate, 3% rate, if you're still positive 15% cash on cash return every single month and you're borrowing at a 4% interest rate, you're still positive fucking 11% at a 50% cash on cash return. So it's like, just because you're buying at an interest rate that's high, you're not, it's not something that you should be scared of. Like I said, there's so many people that come to me like, I want to buy this, I want to get my first rental, at 21, 22, 23, 24, and they're like, oh, I've been thinking about it for 3 years. What the fuck have you been thinking about for 3 years? If you me and Alex were like, oh, let's get into this game. We thought about it for maybe 3 days. We said, when we bought this property, our most expensive one, $740,000. We thought about it for like maybe a day and a half. It was done. But yeah, I wish I could just change your whole perspective in regards to the aspect of debt acquiring. But yeah, I would say in regards to the financing the deals, this is all the spill I want to talk about. There's so many other things I could talk about, but in regards to like actual like orchestrating of the deal, but in regards to the acquiring side, this is the one spill. If you want me to make another spill in regards to like tenant placement, offer selection, all the above, let me know. I'll make the whole spill, but I want to keep this real about this. I appreciate you watching. Let me know any thoughts you have.